Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. The first time she said, "You didn't bring enough," it sounded like a joke. I set the takeout on the counter, took off my jacket, and she kept her eyes on her phone. "How much was the last project?" she asked without looking up. "Closed at 42. I answered, rinsing my hands. "After costs." "Of course. After costs." She slid the phone into her pocket. Other husbands don't talk about after costs. They just provide. I leaned on the counter, hungry or planning a budget sermon first. She opened one box, took a bite, and winced. "Greasy. Next time get the Thai place. And I need a new phone. Mine lags. Your phone is 6 months old." And she folded her arms. "You're obligated." That was the first crack. Small. Sharp. I told myself she was tired. People get tired. We used to talk until midnight about dumb shows and day trips and our neighbor's tragic lawn. If I'd known where it was headed, I wouldn't have left the car keys on the same hook. I wouldn't have left anything within reach. The late arrivals started as stuck finishing a deck, then drinks with the team, then nothing at all. She came home cool, like I was a doorman she barely recognized. I kept the kitchen clean. I kept my voice steady. I kept paying for her spin classes and the dog groomer and the streaming services she never watched. One night, I came home to a silent house. No dinner smell, no light on the porch, just the dog's nails on the tile and a stack of her packages by the door. I ate a sandwich over the sink. Midnight came. 2 came. At 3, headlights swam across the living room ceiling. I stood by the window and watched a car I didn't know idle in front of our house. She stepped out laughing. The driver got out too. Tall. Ball cap. He reached for her like they'd practiced it. They held each other longer than a door goodbye. Then he touched her hair and said something that made her smile in a way I hadn't seen in months. She walked to the door, adjusting her jacket like nothing was off. I waited in the dark. The lock clicked. She came in and flinched when I spoke. "So who's that?" "Don't start," she said, dropping her bag. "He's a colleague. He gave me a ride. And the hugging is part of the benefits package." "You're imagining. Don't be dramatic." She towed her shoes off, brushed past me, and turned on the hall light like I was furniture. "I'm taking a shower." Water started. I stood in the living room and watched the reflection in the TV. Me, the couch, the quiet house that used to be somewhere I ran to. If there was nothing to hide, why did every answer land like a dare? I slept maybe an hour. At 7, the dog nuzzled my knee. I made coffee. She came out in a towel knot, already on her phone, already somewhere else. "I have a long day," she announced, grabbing a granola bar. "So do I," I replied. "Come home at a sane hour." "No curfew," she said with a smile that wasn't a smile. "Try respect, then." She rolled her eyes and headed out. The door thumped. I stared at the hinge and felt the line move inside me. I drove to work with the radio off and one name in my head: Tara, my wife's closest friend. The one who always hugged me 2 seconds longer than necessary. The one who watched people and collected their tells. She had a laugh that said she knew too much. I scrolled to her name and called. She answered like she'd been expecting me. "Well, look who finally calls. Coffee. Tonight." "Tonight I'm booked," she said, teasing. "But I might be bribable with actual dinner." I'm not shopping for banter. I know. That's why I said dinner. We met at a small place near the lake, the kind with 2 mini Edison bulbs and servers in black sneakers. Tara came in all confidence and perfume, not the cloying kind, the kind you notice 2 beats after she passes. She sat across from me and crossed one leg over the other like she owned that chair. "So," she said, "this is either a job lead or a domestic audit." "I'll be direct," I told her. "My wife's late every night." A man dropped her off. They hugged. "Who is he?" Tara spun her straw. "If I tell you, you won't use my name." "I won't." "And you won't blow up tonight." "I don't blow up. I move." She studied me for a few seconds. "It's not a colleague," she said. "It's the guy she swore was history. Derek." I let the name sit in my mouth before I let it out. "Derek," I repeated dry. The legend who understood her without words. Tara nodded once. "They bumped into each other months ago. Then they kept bumping. She told me you wouldn't notice. That you're too decent." "Is that what I am?" I said. "Decent. Sturdy. Predictable." Tara's tone softened a hair. You don't chase drama. She thinks that's a weakness. You told her that? I told her not to test a patient man. I breathed out through my nose. Anything else I should know before I clean my side of the street? She said you're manageable when you're busy. So she keeps you busy. Extra classes. Errands. Tara tilted her head. And she brags that you never ask where the money goes. I ask, I said. She says she needs a new phone. Of course she does. Tara tapped the table. Mark, she wants two things: attention when it flatters her, and funds when it upgrades her. If one pipeline slows, she opens the other. Good. Then we'll close both. I pushed my chair back. Thanks. Hold up, Tara said, catching my sleeve. Don't make this about me. I won't. Promise me, she said. And, Mark, yes. If you're going to be decisive, be all the way in. Halfway gets you run over. Noted. I paid and left. On the drive home, I planned. No calls. No texts. She walked in at 1, all wind and casual. You're up, she noted, surprised to find me on the couch. We need to fix something, I replied. We need. She kicked off her shoes. Is this a meeting? It's a notice, I said. I know who he is. She froze. Just a fractional pause. Then the shrug. He's part of my past. We're friends. Friends with midnight drop-offs and long hugs. I said. Pick one. Respect me or reframe your life without me in it. She laughed once, a sharp exhale. I'm not cutting him off because you're insecure. Insecure. I stood. No. Clear. This is my boundary. You cross it, I step out. She lifted her chin. Then step. Noted, I answered. Starting now, the joint account is paused. I'll cover the mortgage, utilities, and the dog. You want extras, you fund extras. My calendar is my own. If you're late, I'm not home to receive it. And I'm moving to the guest room until we choose the path. You're punishing me? I'm protecting me. I walked past her and pulled my laptop from the bag. If you're going to build a side life, build it outside my resources. She stared, trying to decide between mockery and a fight. She picked mockery. You think this makes you strong? It makes me done repeating myself, I said. Good night, Sam. That was the first initiative. A clean cut. Immediate consequence. She slammed a door. I slept in the guest room and felt the house shift on its foundation. The next morning, she pivoted. I came out to bacon in the pan and a soft voice. I made breakfast, she said. And I was harsh last night. I don't want to fight. That's new. I answered, leaning on the doorframe. She handed me a plate. I've been stressed. Work's a mess. You know how it is. I do. Saturday and the late rides? Over, she said too quickly. We're adults, Mark. We can handle hard phases. Sure, I said. I ate. It tasted like peace, but it didn't smell like it. I rinsed the plate, kissed the dog, and left without kissing her. She watched me from the doorway like she was calculating margins. At lunch, I stepped into an attorney's office 3 blocks from my site. No drama. No speeches. I gave facts. I didn't mention names I couldn't prove. We drafted papers. 1 week, he said. Fine. I signed what I needed to sign and went back to work. That afternoon, I moved my personal files to a cloud drive she didn't know about, boxed my grandfather's watch, and took it to a safe deposit box near the hardware store. That night, I swung by the bank and set up a separate account. Not secrecy, safety. On purpose, I stopped asking where she was. I came home when it suited me. If she texted late, I sent a thumbs up. No extra questions. No waiting in the living room like a security guard. The first night I did that, she came home at midnight and found the house quiet. Where are you? She called. In bed. I answered from the guest room. Since when do you go to sleep without me? Since you stopped coming home like a partner. She hovered at the door, hand on the frame. I told you I'm working on it. I heard you, I said. Now watch me work on me. She left. The next day, she tried version 2 of Soft. She dropped by my site with iced coffee and a fresh sandwich. My crew eyed her like she was a rare bird. Hey, she chirped. Thought you could use fuel. I wiped my hands and took the cup. Thanks. She smiled at my guys. He pretends he doesn't need help. He does. Occasionally, I replied. We're slammed. Sam, I'm in the middle of something. I'll wait, she said, planting herself on a spool of cable. She watched me marshal materials and talk to the city inspector. When I came back, she was tracing patterns in the sawdust with her shoe. We're okay, right? she asked. We'll be okay when respect returns, I said. This isn't a charm contest. Her mouth thinned. You love making me the villain. Stop giving me material. She stood and smoothed her shirt. I'm trying, but you're punishing me with money. It's petty. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. No, it's precise, I answered. Mortgage, utilities, dog, everything else is on hold. You want a new phone? Buy a new phone. I'm not sponsoring your discomfort with me. She laughed without humor. You know what? Do your power play. I have friends. I noticed, I said, and turned to my foreman. Let's load the truck. She left. My crew leader, Luis, sidled up and scratched his chin. You good, boss? I'm effective, I said. Good comes later. That night, she didn't come home until 2:30. She slipped inside like a teenager. I didn't get up. I didn't ask. In the morning, she was all sugar again, making my coffee wrong on purpose because she forgot I'd take it black. Let's go to Beth's party Friday, she said, breezy. People will talk if we skip. I'll be there, I said. I'll drive myself. You always drive us. I'm not doing optics, I told her. We're either real or we're separate. She flipped a dish towel over the oven handle a little too hard. You love lines. I love clarity, I replied. By Friday, the papers were ready. I picked them up on my way to the office and slid them into a crisp manila folder. Not a threat, a plan. Then I went to Beth's backyard with a six-pack and a smile that didn't show teeth. Friends gathered around the fire pit. Music low. The kind of party where everyone knows the history of each couple because we've all seen each other through jobs and layoffs. And the year Dave shaved his head in solidarity with his brother. Sam arrived after I did, dressed like a brighter season. She kissed my cheek in front of people and pinned herself to my side. There you are, she said like we were newlyweds. Here I am, I answered dry. Tara was across the yard, a glass of lemonade in her hand. When she caught my eye, she gave nothing away. Good. Sam tugged at my sleeve. Smile, she hissed. You look like a funeral. Then maybe stop hosting a wake for our respect, I replied, quiet enough for only her to hear. She squeezed my arm hard. You're ruining this. No, I said. You ruined it when you traded me for proximity to your past. I'm just adjusting to reality. Stop, she snapped, the smile never leaving her face for the crowd. We will not discuss this here. Fine, I said. Let's discuss something else. Your frequent flyer miles. She blinked. What? Never mind. I peeled away to say hi to Dave, who asked if I wanted the grill tongs. Later, I told him. I'm not cooking for an audience. Sam followed me and laughed loudly at nothing, loud enough for Tara to angle closer like a lifeguard spotting a ripped current. Everything okay? Tara asked Sam, too sweet. We're perfect, Sam said, clinging to my arm. Aren't we, babe? I met Tara's eye and gave a small nod that said, stand down. Not yet. Beth clinked a spoon on a mason jar. Quick announcement, she called. Next weekend is Mark and Sam's anniversary, and we're doing a little something at their place. Potluck. Bring your favorite memory. Sam beamed. Can't wait. Me too, I said. It'll be memorable. Tara almost choked on her drink. She knew exactly what memorable meant in my mouth. Sam, of course, heard flattery. That night, near 2, the now familiar headlights returned to our curb. I was awake. Old habits. I let them finish their goodbye routine. When she came in, I was sitting at the kitchen island with the folder beside me. You waited up, she said. No, I answered. I was up. She reached for a glass. You know it's late. I know. I tapped the folder. I also know his name. She stared at the folder like it might bite. You're not doing this. I am. No yelling. No drama. Just a line. And you think a piece of paper makes you a hero. No. It makes me done, I said. If he's in your life, I'm out. I won't share the position I earned. She set the glass down with a small click. I'm not giving up my friends. If that's your ultimatum, live with it. Noted. I replied, the same word as before. I picked up the folder and took it to the office. You'll get this when guests can witness the truth you keep performing. Until then, the guest room remains mine. You're petty, she said, suddenly small. I'm precise, I repeated. Then I went to bed. The next days were quiet. She tested with more sugar. She prepped a roast on Wednesday and asked if I wanted to walk the dog together on Thursday. I did walk, but with earbuds in, a podcast drowning out whatever script she planned. She was kind at odd moments. She texted photos of sunsets like we were 22 again. It was nice. It was also a tactic. Saturday came. I mowed the lawn at 9. I cleaned the grill. I laid out extra chairs. I bought ice and a cake that said, "Cheers to years," because it said nothing and everything. People started arriving at 5. Parents, cousins, our neighbors who loan us tools and never bring them back, friends from work. I shook hands, poured drinks, kept it lean. Sam floated like a perfect host, topping off glasses, touching my shoulder in that timely way that fools strangers. "See?" she whispered at one point. "We're fine. Are we?" I asked. She smiled for my mother. "He's a comedian," she chirped. At 7, I clinked my glass. The yard quieted. Even the neighbor's yappy dog took a break. "I want to say a few words," I said. "I'm grateful for a lot of things. This house, these people, the years that taught me patience and decisions." Sam looked at me with practiced adoration. A few guests got misty because they love love even when love is a stage set with flimsy walls. "I've got a gift," I continued, holding up the ribboned folder. "It's something honest. We need more of that." I handed it to her. She opened it. The color left her face in a slow wash. A hush dropped like a blanket. You could hear the ice shift in the cooler. "What is this?" she asked, but the question wasn't for information. It was an objection to the air. "A future where we go separate," I answered. "Because you chose company I don't accept." Her eyes flashed and went wet and cold all at once. "You're doing this now? You wanted guests," I said. "You've been performing a role. I'm done being your prop." A couple friends looked between us like they'd walked into a bad movie. Tara's jaw was set. My father didn't blink. My mother put a hand over her mouth. Even Derek's name floated in the silence like he'd been summoned. "You're humiliating me," Sam hissed. "No," I said. "You did that when you traded our peace for familiarity with a man who doesn't live here. This is just the receipt." She turned, appealing to the crowd. "We're going through a phase. He's being rash." "This isn't rash," I said. "It's late. You have tomorrow to collect your things. I'll be gone with the dog from 9 to noon. After that, locks change." "Who do you think you are?" she snapped. "Someone who learned the cost of being manageable." "I'm done," I replied, calm as a calendar note. "You can't fix this in public," she said. "You're horrible." "Correction," I said. "I'm done trying to fix what you keep breaking." She opened her mouth, but nothing useful came out. She looked at her parents. They didn't step in. Everybody understood what they were seeing, not a tantrum. A boundary. I set my glass down and scanned faces. "Thank you for coming," I told them. "There's dessert inside. I'll be packing a bag." I walked to the gate. Tara met me halfway without making a show of it. "You serious?" she whispered. "More than I've ever been." She swallowed. "You leaving now?" "Yes." She looked back at the porch where Sam stood, trembling with anger she hadn't planned for. Tara faced me again. "You don't need to ask, but I'll say it anyway. Do you want company? Just to keep you from doing anything dumb like sleeping in your truck." "I was thinking a diner," I said. "Eggs at 8 p.m. are good for the soul." She nodded once. "I'll drive." We left. I didn't look back. We sat at a quiet booth while the waitress poured coffee for people who didn't need it. Tara leaned her forearms on the table. "You okay?" "I'm steady," I said. "Okay comes later. You know she'll stage something. Tears. Apologies. Another version of helpful." "I know," I said. "I've got the next steps lined up. Storage tomorrow for whatever she leaves. A cleaner Monday. Realtor to appraise Thursday." "You're actually selling?" "I'm not living in a museum," I said. "I'll buy a smaller place that doesn't echo." We ate in silence for a minute. Then Tara looked at me the way she did that first night at the restaurant, like she was measuring if I was going to be the man I said. "So," she said, "official date when the paperwork is signed." "After we sign, we'll see a game," I answered. "We'll sit in bad seats and laugh at the mascot." She grinned. "Now that's romance." We drove back to my buddy Dave's spare room for the night. He tossed me a key like we were teenagers again. The next morning, I took the dog for a long walk along the river. When I got home at noon, Sam was gone. Her side of the closet was empty. The bathroom was a mess of hair ties and expired makeup. She left a note on the kitchen island. You didn't have to do this like that. I crumpled it and threw it away. Then I changed the locks and texted her a simple message. Keys changed. Mail forwarded on request. Send a time if you need anything you missed. She didn't respond. By the next week, the house was stripped of our jokes. I put the couch up for sale and had 3 guys swing by to haul it out. My mother came by with a casserole I didn't need and the same question everyone else had. Are you sure? I'm better than sure, I said. I'm consistent. Work felt lighter. I picked up a new contract on a renovation downtown. Old brick, clean lines, a budget that made sense. Luis noticed the change. You're louder, he said one morning, which was his way of saying I'd stopped drifting. Maybe I'm just awake, I told him. Sam tried the second soft pivot a week later. She sent a long text with the greatest hits. I've been thinking, we can do counseling. I realize I pushed. I miss us. It would have worked 6 months earlier. Now it read like a sales brochure. I replied with one sentence. I hope you find what you're looking for. That was it. No lectures. No post-game analysis. Cold, Tara said when I told her. Clean, I answered. We didn't rush anything, Tara and I. We got coffee. We walked the dog together on a Saturday and ran into Beth, who hugged me so hard I had to pat her back to get free. I didn't know, Beth said. It wasn't your job to know, I said. She looked happy, Beth murmured. She's good at theater, Tara cut in. Beth blinked. I guess we all are sometimes. Sometimes, I agreed. Just not anymore. 2 months later, the sale on the house closed, and I moved into a place with wood floors that didn't creak and a small fenced yard. I bought a used pickup that ran like a clock. The dog approved. I hung a simple print in the living room. No memories attached, no hidden messages. A grill on the back deck. Single man's pantry. My tools organized like a craft store wall. I heard things in the months after. Small town rumor mill stuff, delivered by people who love the sound of their own empathy. Sam bounced between an apartment near campus and a rental with roommates she pretended were fun. The guy with the ball cap turned out not to be a long-term planner. She pinged a couple of my friends with coy messages. They ignored her. She tried a new gym across town and insisted online that she'd never been better. Maybe she believed it. Maybe she needed to. That was her story to write. Mine was simple. Work, workout, dinners that weren't eaten in a war zone. Sunday drives with the windows down. Photos on my phone that didn't feel like evidence. Tara and I eased into something that looked like 2 adults giving each other room to breath. She'd show up with groceries and bully me into cooking something green. I'd fix a cabinet in her kitchen without her asking. She'd steal my hoodie and never return it. One night on my porch, she asked, "Do you ever regret the public part?" No, I said. I waited too long to take it public. I let her make me the bad guy in private and the good guy in front of guests. I had to reverse it once so the record matched the facts. She'll tell it her way, Tara said. She will, I answered. People can pick which version they prefer. I sleep either way. She bumped my shoulder. You're different now. Leaner, I said. I keep fewer things. You kept me, she pointed out. I didn't keep you. You stayed. I corrected. That's different. She smiled at that. Later, she dragged me to a last-minute concert in the park, and we sat on a scratchy blanket listening to a cover band try their best. It was ordinary. It felt like wealth. Months rolled. Work stacked up. I hired 2 more guys and took nights off on purpose. My father stopped asking guarded questions and started asking if I could help him rewire his garage. My mother brought over plants I try not to kill. Beth texted me a photo from a party I wasn't at, with a caption, "Less theater this time." I replied with a thumbs up. Sam called once from a number I didn't recognize. I answered on the second ring out of habit. I drove by the old house, she said after a long silence. It's someone else's now, I said. I know, she whispered. Everything is. We made choices, I said. Now we live with them. I didn't think you'd follow through, she admitted. You counted on me fading, I said. I don't fade. She breathed out, quiet. He wasn't what I remembered. He rarely is, I said. Take care, Sam. That's all. That's the end, I answered and hung up. No gloating. No lecture. Just the final period where there used to be a comma. Here's what matters. I was happy once. Dinners at a slightly too small table. Bad jokes. Plans for a road trip we never took. Then the cold set in, and I tried to call it weather. It wasn't weather. It was a choice, hers then mine. I didn't scream. I didn't plead. I changed the rules, then the location, then the life. I look around now and see order. Not a museum. A workshop. A place where things get built. Some nights I sit on the porch with a glass of water, the dog at my feet, and Tara telling me about a client who insists walls be painted colors that don't exist. We laugh. We go quiet. We tell the truth. No theater. If there's advice anywhere in this, it's not fancy. When someone starts using you for their personal set piece, stop being furniture. Stand up. Move. Let them rearrange the room without you. They'll call you cold. Some will call you worse. Fine. Make coffee. Go to work. Write the next plan. Keep your voice low. Keep your decisions high. On our old anniversary date, I grilled steaks with Dave and his wife on my back deck. Tara stole the tongs and did it better. Dave raised a glass. To clarity, he said. To clarity, I echoed. The dog barked at nothing. The fence held. The night was just a night. No speeches, no paper, no audience. And I finally felt what I used to pretend to feel when the lights were bright and the smile was fixed. Home. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.